Welcome to Durban and the Cambridge Nedbank COPpuccino, your daily dose of COP17 Carnival. I've got two guests today, one based in Cape Town, the other from China, Laurence Brahm, Stefan Raubenheimer from Cape Town, but both are thought leaders with international profiles and international networks. Steph, let me begin with you. Why are you in Durban? What brings you to COP?
Well, I swore that I'd never come to another one, but I've gone to about 13 of them. And they've changed over the years in ways that you cannot imagine.
No, it's my first COP, so I come with a fresh perspective. And Himalayan Consensus, with our sister organization, African Consensus, held a side event in which we tried to bring together business, NGOs, and the delegates, negotiators from China, India, and Brazil, to come up with a common set of denominators that could be achieved at Durban.
I think what we have to understand is that there is a profoundly different set of imperatives when 150 odd nations get together and try and thrash out an agreement like this. In the early COPs, you would arrive at a building with 1,000 people in it. Now there are 30, 40, 50,000 people coming to COPs. So there is a kind of excessive clutter that is beginning to, I think, contaminate the process to some degree.
Too much participation.
You know, in my professional life, I was a mediator for a long time, and parties like a safe space to get rid of very difficult problems. And a safe space means a confidential space, a quiet space, a space in which you've heard the lobbying and you've gone past that point, and you've come to that point where you need to find.
Because after all, COP is a rolling process, isn't it? It's not just Durban, it goes on throughout the year.
I think what people have to understand out there is that there have been a number of preparatory meetings to prepare text and get ready for this particular event, and to a large extent people already know the conflict issues, and they've already been lobbied excessively during the course of the year. So it's a very difficult, this is an agora. It's first of all a place where there's a lot of thinking and a lot of advertising and a lot of thought leadership. There's a lot of media and messages about climate change and putting climate change on the agenda. And somewhere in the middle of this huge rolling activity, there are people really trying to get an agreement out that is massively complicated and has an impact on the world that is difficult to imagine.
What's the most interesting conversation you've had so far, Laurence?
In terms of progress, I think the message in the corridors is nobody wants to see Kyoto Protocol die in Durban. Nobody wants to see that happen on African soil. And that is the consensus. That's the consensus of everybody. Now, how that's extended and what mechanism is going to allow Kyoto to survive is going to be thrashed out in the days ahead.
We must always recognize that what is being done in the building there must ultimately have must have as its objective not just to get an agreement. That's the wrong objective. But to get an agreement that deals with the climate problem. That's the objective. So there's a part of me that goes, you know, so what about Kyoto and all these other elements? The point is, are we really progressing along the road towards an ultimate agreement that deals with the climate problem in a way that is scientifically based, and there's strong consensus, there's strong agreement, people will stick to that agreement? And the real point is that we are not remotely near that agreement. My concern, and this is the question I raised with Laurence, my concern is that the process of getting there and the time frame in which we have to get there do not seem to be aligned with each other.
I've spent time with Occupy Wall Street. I've been with the movement. And what Occupy Wall Street is calling for is a change in social values, a change in the way business operates, and in the way that business is more responsible socially and environmentally in its actions. And this is being created by our financial system. Our financial system does not support the small. And this comes into the Green Fund, what's being talked about. We need to be able to support the small. We need to be able to support sustainability at the local level. We don't need globalization. We need localization.
I was just at a side event where we were analyzing quite carefully what motivates mitigation. And the truth of the matter is, thus far, in the developing world, which is where I've been working, obviously, mitigation has been motivated by opportunity. So there were mechanisms like the CDM, so you could get some money, so you did some mitigation. Now mitigation is being motivated by new things. The footprint of your product, which is being exported from Chile to Europe. So there are new motivators, and in fact I think what is interesting is that a lot of developing countries are now looking at national programs planning their mitigation effort. This in a way that was unheard of just 2 years ago. So there are a whole lot of motivators beginning to coalesce, motivators like civil society, weather climate change impacts, economic motivators, financial motivators, motivators with some companies that are ethical motivators. We need to be more green, etc. Then on the other hand, there is a kind of an energy, and in South Africa a minerals energy complex, and in other countries an energy automobile complex, and they are huge industrial and commercial and financial interests that interlock and are entirely dependent upon carbon fuel. And the undoing of those huge central structures has not yet really been tackled.
Thank you both for shedding light on the political economy of climate change negotiations in COP17. Thank you for joining me. Steph Raubenheimer,
Thank you very
Laurence
much.
Brahm, thank you very much.
Thank you.